This is probably the weirdest video I've made in a while. And if you guys can't tell, these videos that I've been making have been weirder and weirder every single time. Hey guys, it's Jay. So today I wanted to take a second to explain my comprehensive beginning into acting. This is a little weird because it definitely feels weird and it seems weird because it is weird. And that's the best way I can describe it. You guys have seen me go through a lot of crazy stuff. And it's like, not even that I showed a bunch of it, just that it exists. So I wanted to share something with you guys that I have never told or shared with anyone at all, ever. And it's my favorite play. It's my favorite body of work, and it's my favorite piece I've ever read. So there was one year, just to paint the picture for you guys, there was one year when I was in high school, I had failed English class. I think I was in the 10th grade. And I loved my English teacher at the time. She was amazing. Her name was Miss Nicopolis. I can't remember what her first name was, but she taught at my high school, and she was just such an amazing woman because she found ways to put stories in front of us that we actually wanted to pay attention to. And I thank her for that because that was kind of the beginning of my love for stories. The first book that she had us read was The Grapes of Wrath. And now, I didn't really care too much about the 1920s, the Great Dust Bowl, the Prohibition, anything like that. I didn't care. That was not something that spoke out to me. But what did speak out to me was the amount of gangsters, mobsters, and actual shit that was going on in Prohibition. That was something that interests me. So that whole time period then became interesting to me. So then I read that book, and it reminded me a lot of, and this is her words, is Oregon Trail the video game. So if you guys have ever played Oregon Trail, that was one of the first games I've ever played. And it was very, very interesting to play this very early on RPG, where you had to take care of an entire family going from Oregon to California during the gold rush. And so that was something, and like your family members would get scurvy, or they would die of starvation, they would break their ankles, or get attacked by like wolves or something, or dogs or whatever. I don't remember the context to everything, but anyway, after that she introduced me to The Great Gatsby, and that by far is one of my favorite pieces by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I can't say my favorite author because I don't know that many, but The Great Gatsby is something that always kind of stuck out to me. And so after that, I ended up failing that class, but I loved it. And I failed it because I didn't do the homework, I didn't do the test very well, and I just didn't perform the way that I was supposed to. And so the reason why this is important is because it taught me how deep stories can really get once you attach yourself to something very small and insignificant. And so that summer, I met another gentleman who actually was teaching summer school. I don't remember his name. He was an older guy, but he basically said, you can do the homework or you can do the classwork throughout this entire summer, or you can memorize one Shakespearean play. And he gave us like 30 of them. And so I just randomly picked Hamlet. Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 2. And I remember he even showed us the movie because it would help. He showed us the movies for the pieces that some of us had. And so Hamlet was always something that I got attached to, and I've never known why. I just like it. I've always liked Hamlet. Act 1, Scene 2 is such a powerful piece that even in the movie when you watched it, it felt like it was there's so many different ways to interpret it. And so that's what I wanted to sit and record this video for, was for interpretation. So you can take the smallest, most insignificant piece to a story and spin it in your perception and however you want to see it. So that's why today I've decided to recite the Hamlet soliloquy from Hamlet Act 1, Scene 2. And it's my favorite because of the way it's written. I've loved the way Shakespeare has written his work. It doesn't make any sense. And it's open to interpretation, and it's open to whatever perception that you give it. So it begins with, as simply as it may sound, "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt." And so that first line really stuck with me. I'm not sure why, probably because I like Old English. But it goes, "Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon 'gainst self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie unto fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed things rank and gross in nature. Possesses it merely that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was. To this, Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven. Visit her face too roughly, heaven and earth must I remember why she hang on him. As if increase of appetite had grown, but what it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month or ere those shoes were old, with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason, would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother. But no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of the most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her gallant eyes, she married, oh, with most wicked speed. To most with such dexterity to incestuous sheets, it not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. And so, like, as you can see, like, Old English, I just really, really dig it. And this piece is essentially that it's kind of a cry out that his father died and his dad was king. And his mom, without hardly any remorse or taking any time to mourn, decided to not only remarry, but remarried the king's brother. And it almost seems like it was too much of a setup, and it was too good to be true. And from Hamlet's point of view, you can see and just interpret the different feelings that he had that even the gods can't explain. So, there you go, guys. This is the first video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I will have another video that I'm going to work on right now that you guys might actually find this next one pretty funny.